Hey, what's up, amigos? There's no Ride with Rick tonight. I've got the house to myself, so we're going to be doing this from the comfort of my living room, and I thought it should be a great opportunity to not have, the sound of the car and road and tires and all that other fun stuff. But let's dive into immediate value. So tonight, we're going to be talking about leadership theories, styles, and concepts. And if you're a current leader within your organization, or you're aspiring to become a leader because you do like to mentor, train, and coach, then this is going to be the video that you're going to want to dial into. We're going to get into a lot of critical information, important information that's going to help you reflect, introspect, and maybe take a look at your current leadership style and maybe work towards a leadership style that maybe is going to work best and serve you best, and to be able to help other people become the best version of themselves. So leadership is defined as the ability to influence people towards the attainment of goals. A really popular leadership concept today is called level 5 leadership. And level 5 leadership is an almost complete lack of ego coupled with a fierce resolve to do what's best for the organization. So level 5 leaders are typically humble, unpretentious, and modest rather than prideful and arrogant. And because they're humble, they typically come across as shy and self-effacing. Now, level 5 leaders take full responsibility for failures, mistakes, underperformance within the organization, but also give credit for success to other people. So level 5 leaders build organizations around solid values that go far beyond making money, with an unwavering resolve to do whatever it takes for the long-term success of the company. The other really cool thing about level 5 leaders is that whenever they transition out of their role to maybe move on to something else, they actually set their successors up for incredible success. Whereas we've seen other types of leaders, when they walk away from their positions, they don't do a whole lot to help the successor, transition into that role. And then if there's a failure within the organization, or that successor actually fails in that role, they love to come out in left field and say, oh, look, see, they couldn't do it without me. And I think we all know somebody like that. Another really popular concept is servant leadership. Now, servant leaders transcend self-interest to serve others, their organization, and society. Now, servant leaders operate on two levels. One, for the overall fulfillment of the needs of their subordinates, and two, for the overall mission of the organization. So they're very mission-oriented and very people-oriented. Now, servant leaders will typically give away things like power, information, ideas, recognition, credit for success, and even money. Now, servant leadership is typically found within non-for-profit organizations, but is also wildly successful when implemented correctly into the corporate world. Now, I grew up under servant leadership. I even served a mission for my church in Colombia, South America, which was also very servant leader style of leadership, even as a young man. And that is just the way it is within, for example, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a church that I belong to. It's a beautiful leadership concept. Now, the other type of leadership concept that's really popular today is authentic leadership. And I really love this concept of leadership. In fact, I think we can take a lot of these different leadership styles we're going to be talking about tonight and core out the better parts of these leaderships, and maybe create an entirely new leadership style, frankly. So that's my personal belief on it, because I've lived under so many different leadership styles. I really think that I've been able to take a lot of these different concepts, values, theories, and apply them into my personal approach of leadership. So authentic leaders, they know and understand themselves. They espouse and act upon higher order ethical values, and empower and inspire with their openness and authenticity. So authentic being real, but also staying true to their personal beliefs and values, and act based on one's true self rather than trying to emulate what other people do. So authentic leaders inspire trust and commitment because they respect different points of view, they encourage collaboration, and they help others learn, grow, and develop into leaders themselves. So authentic leaders can really be broken down into 5 categories. They pursue purpose with passion. So when leaders don't have a purpose, they can actually become victim to greed and ego. But when leaders actually have a purpose, what they actually do is inspire commitment from their followers. Authentic leaders practice sound and solid values. So authentic leaders have values that are shaped by their personal beliefs, and they stay true to those beliefs even under pressure. And when they do that, even under pressure, the people around them are able to see them for who they are and what they stand for, which in turn inspires trust. Authentic leaders lead with their hearts and they lead with their minds. So they are compassionate, but they're also able to make really difficult decisions. Authentic leaders build really powerful connections, and they grow and build enduring relationships based off of the type of people that they bring into their lives. And because they empower them, they want to do their best for the individual as the leader, but then they also help them grow and develop. And then authentic leaders, they actually practice self-discipline, so self-control and self-discipline in their decision making, so they don't put the company, the organization, or their people at risk by making unethical decisions. And when they make mistakes, they openly admit those mistakes. And I really love that style of authentic leadership. Now, another really popular leadership style that is very unique to certain individuals is charismatic leadership. I'm very much a charismatic person, but my leadership style is more transformational, authentic, and servant leadership. So charismatic leaders inspire and motivate people to do things they normally wouldn't do despite obstacles and even personal sacrificing. And they do this by accomplishing three things. One, they set a lofty vision that their followers identify with. Two, they're able to demonstrate compassion and empathy towards their followers. And then three, they actually empower and trust the people that they've brought in to do their job. So that's charismatic leadership. Transformational leadership, on the other hand, is very similar to charismatic leadership, whereas transformational leaders are distinguished by their ability to bring about innovation and change, but also recognize the concerns and needs for their followers and provide meaning, and they're able to help their employees look at old problems in new ways. So they really become a role model of these new behaviors and values. And transformational leaders also inspire their followers not only to believe in themselves as the leader, but also to believe in themselves and their own purpose and potential to imagine and create a future, not only for themselves, but the entire organization. So transformational leaders really create significant change both in the individual and the organization. Then we also have interactive leadership. Now, interactive leadership is really more about collaboration and inclusion and sharing. And really, interactive leadership is a powerful leadership concept for women because they are much better at this than men. You know, women leaders, it's that nature versus nurture type of a thing where it's real. And so if you're a woman and you really want to take it next level, interactive leadership is probably the leadership style that you naturally fall into. And one thing that they say about women leaders when they naturally lead with this interactive leadership style is their weak link is really in the negotiating side of things, but when they understand that and learn that, it's really hard to replace a powerful woman leader. So just want to throw that out there. There's transactional leadership, and transactional leaders is more like management style, right? Making sure that what's happening within the organization is actually taking shape and being managed properly. Everybody has their needs met for in the moment, whereas transformational leadership is more change and visionary, if that makes sense, transformational versus transactional. And then you have situational leadership and contingency leadership. And those are two almost the same in the one, where it sounds it is exactly what it sounds like. Situational leadership is depending on what we call a high readiness level and a low readiness level of the actual employees that they're leading. So somebody with a low readiness level probably needs a more directional style of leadership, maybe a little bit of hand-holding and even micromanagement, you could say, whereas somebody who's more moderate, moderate ready in the workplace, the readiness level is moderate, is more of a coaching style leadership that needs to be applied. Somebody who's got a more high to moderate is going to be more of a supportive leadership style. And then somebody who is high in readiness, they have both the education and the experience, it's more of an entrusting leadership style. And so those are all the different styles of leaderships and concepts that are out there. And as we review these and really kind of break them down, it's really important to identify who you are as a current leader now, and again, what type of leader you want to transition into. Now, of course, with leadership comes power, right? So let's talk about this power that people have as leaders, because you don't necessarily need to have a title, for example, to be an actual leader. So let's talk about that. So there's hard power and soft power. And those with hard power, it's called legitimate power. So that is the actual title, the role that the individual receives, and the employees recognize that title and that role and behave accordingly, right? So that's legitimate power. Then you have what's called reward power, and these are the individuals within the organization that can dangle the carrot, right? And really motivate employees to accomplish whatever they need to accomplish, and at the end of the day, they get rewarded for that behavior or accomplishment. Then you also have coercive power, and coercive power is more on the negative side of things. These are the individuals that have the right to take employees that are underperforming and, of course, discipline them. It's more of a disciplinary action type of leadership style or leadership power that people have. And then when it comes to soft power, we have expert power, and people just automatically will, do whatever this person says or does or needs because they're the expert in that field, right? Nobody else can really do it, so we go to this person because they're the expert in that field. Then you have what's called referent power, and this is the power that I'm talking about, where you don't necessarily need to have a title, but you've earned this followership because of who you are naturally as a leader, the respect that you have because of the way you go about doing business, or because of how you interact with the people around you and maybe serve them. And it's just your natural style. And so that is referent power. And then, of course, last but not least, in order to be a good leader, you do need to be a good follower. You need to be a good listener. And if you can tie all of these different things together, you're going to be a pretty powerful leader. I hope this helps, and I hope you enjoy this video, and we'll see you on the next Ride with Rick.